As fantastic a CFP as Mel O is, as wonderful an attorney as I am, and as good as Stormy is at whatever it is he does, please do note that anything said in our podcasts are our opinions alone and are not meant to be taken as financial or legal advice.
Welcome to Finances, the Other F Word, a Gen Xer podcast for musicians and music lovers, where we discuss money and music without all the pretentious bullshit. Here are your hosts, Zoe Terry, attorney at large, Stormy Andrews, founder of Yokel Local Marketing, and Mel O, certified financial planner and author of Finances, the Other F Word. Listener discretion is advised.
Hey guys, welcome to Finances, the Other F Word. And guess what?
What?
Woo! We have Stormy!
Yay!
Yay!
We're all back together again.
And not only do we have Stormy actually was able to make this work in a different way. So it's pretty cool. So now you guys got a visual on us, and I'm looking pretty rough because I wasn't thinking we were going to be visually recorded. Stormy's rocking a new beard.
That's right.
I am, as we say in England, rough as a chuff because I'm coming off a migraine. So please do note this is not my usual beautifulness.
It actually really is. You really do. I think you put on makeup way more than you do because you really don't. Me, on the other hand, this is like fucking al natural, by the way. So today, actually, wait, before we get to it. So Zoe and I, the last podcast we put out, Stormy, we talked about how we were handling quarantine. So what have you been doing and how have you been handling quarantine?
I've been running around in the streets, going to clubs, and it's nice because I'm the only one there.
You're having to break in, I imagine, because they're closed.
Yeah, so they're closed, so I got to break in and do all sorts of things.
Stormy's like one of those people that when you go to the clubs, it's usually girls. If there's a mirror, they just sit there and dance in front of the mirror and stare at themselves the whole time. That's Stormy.
Yeah, pretty much.
Totally Stormy.
How you doing yourself? Yeah.
As a matter of fact,
you look hot. I'd fuck you.
Yeah, see, there it is.
Okay, I'm wearing a wife beater, but all of a sudden I'm hot as hell. I think I'm probably hot flashing. I don't have any idea what's going on in my life right now. I don't even know what day it is.
Shut the window. That's why. Huh? You shut the window. That's probably why.
Why I'm hot?
No, you shut the window and now you're hot. I was trying to give you an explanation for your hotness. No?
Okay, let's roll with it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so anyway, I thought this. Right. I thought this episode would be kind of nostalgic and fun because we were going to talk about a little bit about the economic factors in the 1970s. And then when I actually started investigating them, I was like, oh, this is kind of depressing. But that was not the intention. The intention was we were trying to do some fun stuff to a time where we didn't have wrinkles on our neck like I'm noticing right now. So we're going to start with Zoe. He's going to give us some songs from the year that Stormy was born.
Now, Stormy, Stormy's just a little bit outside of the 70s, if we're honest with ourselves, and he loves this. Born in 1969. Yeah, look at him. He loves it. So the number ones in USA in the year of Stormy's birth, and he's got some corkers. He's got some great ones.
Yeah.
Corkers?
Corkers, yeah. It's an English expression. It means some corkers.
Oh, cork, not cockers.
Not cockers. That means something else.
Okay.
Corkers. So in January, it was I Heard It Through the Grapevine, Marvin Gaye.
Nice.
Then we
I don't know what that was about. That was weird.
Everything froze for a minute, so I was waiting for a response, and everyone froze. So I'm like, oh well, fuck you then. I thought it was a good song. Then February, it was Tommy James and the Shondells, Crimson and Clover. Never heard of it.
I hate that song so much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then the next one was, I love this song, Sly and the Family Stone, Everyday People. Then Tommy Rowe, Dizzy. Is that the song? Dizzy. I'm so dizzy, my head is spinning. Is that one that was covered later on by someone else? No one knows?
No one knows.
I don't even
You're
know
a
what
baby,
I'm
so
doing right now.
Okay. Then in April, it was the Fifth Dimension, Aquarius, Let the Sunshine In. Okay. Then May and June, it was the Beatles, Get Back. Nice. Then in June, it was Henry Mancini with Love Theme from Romeo and Juliet. Oh, how fitting, because you're such a beautiful romantic. Then in August, I don't know this one either, Zager and Evans, In the Year 2525.
I don't know that song, but on Futurama, they reference that song. So,
okay. Another great one coming into August and September was the Rolling Stones, Honky Tonk Women. So even when in the year that you were born, Stormy, and I consider you, you know, not the youngest man I've met, Rolling Stones were putting out #1 hits. That's crazy. It's crazy stuff.
That's how I roll. See?
Yeah.
and still.
Then the Archies with Sugar Sugar. Sugar Sugar.
Dun, 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 dun.
Then in October we had the Temptations with I Can't Get Next to You.
I can't get next to you, babe. Is that the song, Stormy?
Absolutely.
He doesn't fucking know. You could look at his face.
No, that's it. I'm telling you. That's it. I know it.
He's no fucking clue.
Then November 1st, Corker, Elvis Presley, Suspicious Minds. Who doesn't love that song?
Oh, I love Suspicious Minds.
Yeah.
I do not love that song.
You don't?
Oh, fuck Elvis. Him and John Wayne.
Okay, you heard it here first. November, another #1 in November was the Fifth Dimension, Wedding Bell Blues. Okay, and then the Beatles had another #1 in your year of birth with Come Together.
Yep.
Yep.
That they did.
Right, I remember. And then in December, Steam had a #1 with Nana, Hey Hey, Kiss Him Goodbye.
Yes.
Who covered that?
We played that in band.
Yeah, in band camp.
In band. We didn't have a band camp.
Band camp. Then in December, the last two #1s of your year of birth was Peter, Paul and Mary with Leaving on a Jet Plane. And then final #1 of your year was Diana Ross and the Supremes, Someday We'll Be Together.
Oh, got it.
Quite a varied, eclectic little mix of hits.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I like it.
What are your thoughts on that, Stormy?
Well, I had a slightly different list for my year.
Okay, but don't forget, you can't change the list in that was what was #1 in your year.
Well, I didn't go with #1s.
Oh.
I wanted to celebrate my year.
Sure.
Celebrate the year of 1969. So the first song I came with was
what year
what's
was
that?
What year was that?
Oh, it was 1969.
Ah, I got it.
And because of that year, the first song I came up with is Baby, I'm For Real by the Originals. And then once you realize that Baby, I'm For Real, then I had to go with Easy to Be Hard.
Who does that song?
By Three Dog Nights.
Okay.
Yes. And then once we got that out the way, then we decided to say we went with some Tom Jones, and I said, Love Me Tonight.
Mm-hmm. Love me some Tom Jones.
Absolutely. And then followed up with Tom Jones. I had to go with Crazy Elephant and Give Me Some Lovin'.
Mm-hmm.
Give me some lovin'.
Yeah, give me some good lovin'. I'm sorry. Give me some good lovin'.
Okay.
Notice how he missed out the good.
Yeah, I forgot. It doesn't matter. Just lovin', good lovin' makes no difference. So I said, Give Me Some Lovin' by Crazy Elephant, right? And then from there, I had to say, It's Your Thing by the Isley Brothers. Wow, wow, right? Yep. So then from there, I decided to go with This Magic Moment.
What month were you born, Stormy?
By Jay and the Americans. I was born in October.
Okay, so they would have. Okay, I was just making.
Yeah, they would have been around. Absolutely. It's
they
all
didn't groove on in '68, and then you just happened to be born in '69. No, they were.
No, I was born solid '69, right? So this is the magic moment. Don't mess up my magic moment right now, right? You're messing up my magic moment.
Okay, Mel.
Because after the magic moment, the reason we got to the magic moment was because of Boom Bang a Bang by Lulu.
Oh, Lulu.
Lulu, boom, bang, a bang, right?
Yeah.
And and with that, I had to do some grazing in the grass with Friends of Distinction. Had to go there, which led to me being the Fortunate Son by Creedence Clearwater Revival, right?
Yeah.
And then We Got to Come Together by the Beatles. And I'm going to round this off with Baby, I Love You by Andy Kim. 1969 for you.
By Andy who?
Andy Kim.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, he's a one-hit wonder.
All right.
So there it is.
So do you not have a beverage in front of you, Stormy? Because Zoe and I are both, well, we're in our own houses, so fuck it.
There it is. Cheers.
Cheers. Dink. Okay. All right. So let's start. That stuff is awful. I should have went downstairs and made a real drink. This stuff tastes like shit. All right. So when we're talking about the fun and wonderful time that was the decade of the 1970s, we want to go through a little timeline. So I think you guys will be surprised at some of the stuff that happened during the 1970s.
You were born in the 70s?
Yeah, we both were born in the 70s, Stormy.
Okay, got it. Wow.
Yeah, some of us aren't that old. So, but in 1969, January 20th of 1969, Nixon is elected, and he's going to come up and be pretty important here. And on April 4th, 1970, the World Trade Center was completed. And on April 22nd of 1970, we had our first Earth Day. And then November 30th of 1971, the VCR is introduced.
What?
Yes.
The VCR, honestly, what year is that again?
1971, November 30th.
Wow.
Yeah, for some reason I thought it wasn't until the 80s.
Yeah, I thought it was like late 70s. It must have been super expensive.
Oh,
Did you look up how much the first VCR was?
No, you can.
I'll look it up.
Probably because by the time we got VCRs, it was in the 80s, and we couldn't really afford them until then. So I keep going up.
5 shillings and threepence, I think, for the first one.
How much? 5 shillings? Is that what you said? Shit. All right. So December 31st in 1970, the Beatles break up. Zoe? How does that make you feel?
Indifferent. I'm a Stones fan, remember?
August 15th of 1971, this will be important in a minute, the U.S. officially leaves the gold standard. So we talked about this on a prior episode.
Wow. Hey, wait, real quick. I got to interrupt you. Let's take a guess. How much was the first VCR, the one that you're mentioning in 1971?
$1,200.
Okay, that's yours. Zoe?
I'm going to leave my first answer of 5 shillings and threepence and go for $300.
Wow. No, both of them are way off.
Yeah.
Way off. The first VCR in 1971 was $8,000.
No way.
I kid you not.
We were so off.
The first, like everything else, $8,000. Things have gotten cheaper with electronics. It was $8,000. There you go.
Shit. Dude, can you imagine? It's like the first cell phone. It's like a big fucking brick, and you're like, oh, I'm rolling.
Let me share this with you. When I was selling consumer electronics, when we got our first high-end 50-inch plasma television set, and so this is taking me back late 90s, early 2000s. I forget the years, but that was $20,000. I remember those are now what, $100, $200 for a 50-inch. It was $20,000. It was nice to sell one of those.
Yeah, I'm sure the commission was pretty good on there.
It was pretty good on $20,000 50-inch plasma TV.
How many inches?
Pioneer Elite 50.
All right. So October 1st of 1971, Disney World opens. And January 26th of 72, MASH premieres on television. Did you guys watch MASH in England?
Yep.
Yep. And then in November 8th of 1972, HBO was launched. Yeah.
Really?
I was more interested in Cinemax, because they had Skinemax. April 15, 1973, U.S. pulls out of the Vietnam War. And October 1st of 1973, the U.S. gets hit with an oil embargo, which is going to come up here in a minute. And the oil embargo was on the U.S., Netherlands, Rhodesia, South Africa, and Portugal for supporting Israel. And the Arabian countries put an embargo on the United States. And so that led to a lot of the gas issues that we had. We'll talk about that in a minute. August 9th of 1974, Nixon leaves office. October 28th of 1974, the speed limit is changed to 55 miles an hour nationally.
Really?
Right.
What was it before?
I don't know, but I can't drive 55.
Yeah.
55! You guys don't even get it. It's a rock reference. Sammy Hagar, come on. I can't drive. Or whatever. April 4th of 1975, Microsoft is founded. July 3rd of 75, computerized checkouts begin to appear in supermarkets. In April 1st of 1976, Apple Computers is launched. And May 25th of 1977, Star Wars is released.
Wow.
Yep. July 13th, 1977, New York City blackout occurs. And for Zoe, August 16th, 1977, Elvis is found dead.
Oh.
Yeah.
On the toilet, right?
On the toilet, or that's what they say. I don't know. I wasn't there. October 16th, 1978, John Paul II becomes our Pope, or not our Pope, becomes the Pope. March 28th, 1979, we have, no, I'm not Catholic. I think it is yours, Zoe. Didn't you talk about that on our last segment? March 28th, 1979, an accident at 3 Mile nuclear power plant happens. August 6th, 1979, Sony introduces the Walkman.
Really?
79.
So would you like me to find out how much the first Walkman was? Because that was a hit.
I would. And then the very last thing is September 7th, 1979, ESPN begins to broadcast. So that is a super generalized wrap up of some of the things that happened during the 70s. This is really
the two best things.
What? Oh, we were born. I should have put that in there. Yeah, this is going to give me a headache. I'm not drinking any more of this. I am sticking to vodka, which is downstairs at this point. So, all right, Stormy, I want to know the first Sony before I get into the financial stuff. And then we're going to talk about some of the wonderful, fucking fantastic rock albums that came out in the 1970s. And then Zoe will round us out with the top hits from the year that we were born. The years. So
it says the first Walkman. Now this one says adjusted for inflation. So it's an adjusted for inflation price, but still $498.66.
And that had the yellow,
yellows. Yes, absolutely. The yellow headphones with the blue cassette, and it was mono.
It was mono?
It was mono. The first one was mono. Then it quickly dropped. The second generation quickly dropped to around $200. But if you adjust that, then you know what? Who knows? Maybe adjusted. Oh no, that's the same one. So it looks like maybe it was $200 back then. Mm-hmm. Adjusted for inflation would make it to $498 today.
Wow, right. God.
Yeah.
But crazy. You know what? If in about 10 years, people are going to be like, the first iPhone was how much? You know, I mean, even now we're still paying $800 for fucking iPhones with contract bullshit. And so, you know what? I mean, whatever. I guess you just pay for whatever you think is important at the time.
Yeah, electronics get cheaper and cheaper.
Yeah, Zoe is showing Lily licking her butt.
It's a sight to behold. There she goes. That's it. And relax.
Okay. All right. We're going to get on some financial stuff now. You ready?
Ready.
Any more cat stuff? Can we put the cat stuff away? Are we good for now?
You can carry on. I'm going to take a quick snooze and you go.
Yeah. You better sit and listen to every fucking word I say. No, this is actually really interesting. It was interesting to me anyway. Kind of depressing. It didn't have the nostalgia factor that I was hoping for. So before we get into kind of some of what happened during the economy of the 1970s, there's a couple different types of definitions you need to know. One of them is inflation. So inflation, just very simply put, is where you have too much money chasing too few goods. So there's too much money in the economy and there's not enough goods to buy. Okay. Then you have deflation, which is too little money chasing too many goods. Okay. And then you have stagflation, and stagflation is a slow economic growth period that is both with high unemployment and high inflation. Okay. So all of those happened during the 70s, kind of all moving around each other. So to kind of kick it off, what ended up happening was after World War II and the Great Depression, we had an act come through called the Employment Act of 1946. And so after the Great Depression, everybody was freaking out because unemployment numbers had been so high and they were concerned that that would happen again. So the Employment Act of 1946 comes out, and the act declared that it is the responsibility of the federal government to promote maximum employment and production and purchasing power. And so we start seeing kind of a try to be a pairing between the fiscal powers of Congress and the monetary policies of the Fed. And we've talked about that on this podcast, and we try to see them start kind of linking up. And so they were just trying to find a way that they could force the economy to keep unemployment low. And let me pull up my notes here. It's hard because when I'm looking at my notes, I can't see you guys. So I don't know if you're making faces at me while I'm looking at my notes. No, I know. I'm gonna put my notes. I don't trust you guys. I don't trust you guys at all. And then I have my little dog. I have my little dog coming into.
Hello, Kitsune.
Come on, baby girl. Oh, there we go. All right, everybody say hi to little Kitsune.
Hi. Look at her.
Yeah.
This is what happens when we work from home. Okay, baby girl, I'm doing a podcast, so go do your thing. All right, so here we go. So what the belief was at the time was that they could actually buy down unemployment rates by having a little bit of inflation. And so the belief was at the time is if they lowered interest rates, which thus floods the economy with money, that they would be able to keep unemployment low, because they would assume that since there's so much money out there floating around, people can buy a whole bunch of goods. Therefore, people would be going to work making those goods. Well, the problem is that when you have any type of economic issue, you have to have a ratio of 1 to 1. So just if all of a sudden you turn on the currency and you start flooding and printing out money and moving it into the economy, but you can't ramp up fast enough to be able to provide any of the goods or services that the people need to buy, then we start having this where inflation starts to kind of really take off, which is exactly what it ended up doing in the 1970s. And much of this is blamed on the belief in the Phillips curve by William Phillips. He's an economist, but he actually was just kind of sideswiped by this. He took what he said was completely out of context. So Phillips had came up with something called the Phillips curve, which is an economic model, which basically says that there's an indirect correlation. Hold on. All right, I'm looking to make sure you guys aren't making any noise or leaving. Okay. All right. I'm watching y'all. All right. So I literally cannot see you right now, so you guys are probably doing all kinds of fucked up stuff.
We're both just sat here going.
Yeah, I'm going to watch this, and I'm going to personally come get both of you. So with the Phillips curve, what the Phillips curve model did is he basically said that there was an inverse relationship between the increase between unemployment and wages, meaning that if you have high unemployment, you're going to have wages be lower because of the simple fact that if you have a lot of people looking for work, you don't have to pay them a lot. And inversely to that, you're going to have low unemployment numbers, and people are going to have to actually raise their wages in order to try to get people into their job. And so that was what the Phillips curve actually stated. But from that, somehow they deduced that rates of inflation and rates of unemployment are somehow synced and have an inverse relationship from this curve, which he never said that, and it has nothing to do with it. So the government starts flooding the economy with cash in order for people to buy more goods, but they can't really do that because at the time we were still on the gold standard. So we talked about the gold standard before in episode, I'll get it in here. It's like 41 or something like that. And so we, at one time, all of the US dollars were actually backed by the gold bullion or gold bars that we had at the United States during the Bretton Woods Act or something like that. After World War II, we became the reserve currency. We started to have a lot of foreign countries holding our United States dollars. And what ended up happening, okay, I'm looking at you guys. See, you just don't know. I'm like a mother. Like I'm keep fucking randomly checking on you guys because literally I cannot see what the fuck is going. Yeah, I see Stormy.
We're looking at you too.
Yeah.
Shut up. All right. Okay. So we had US dollar becomes a part of the reserve currency. We talked about that in our gold standard episode. And we had a whole bunch of foreign countries that really wanted to have their hands on US dollars. And we eventually didn't have enough gold to support it. Therefore, we didn't have enough money to technically back the dollars. So Nixon said, fuck it. He took what FDR had started and he said, we're off the gold standard. And now we have a floating currency. And as a result of that, most all currencies float today. What are you doing, Stormy?
I thought he was gonna flash us for a minute.
I was about to, but you caught me.
This is going to be very interesting because there are people that want to hear about the economics, and there's going to be other people that are cracking up. Yeah. Okay. So, all right, we're going to go back to the economics. Okay. I'm going to block you guys again. What is he doing? See, I can't see because
Nothing.
He's listening intently, and I think he might be making notes.
Yep.
You guys are both fuckers, just so you know. So out of that, what ended up happening, I don't know if you guys can see this. I'm sure you can, because I'm sure you're doing something fucked up right now. Out of this, what ended up happening is we have runaway inflation, and then we have the Arab oil embargo. Okay, now I'm not using a racial slur. That's what it's called, Arab oil embargo, that begins in October 1973 and goes for about 5 months into March of 1974. And as I previously mentioned, this was the result of the United States. Stormy, you fucker. Of the United States. You know what? I'm going to watch you. Now I'm going to have to watch you guys because I'm never going to get through this if I keep thinking you guys are fucking with me, which you are, bastards. And as a result of that, we ended up having an embargo because we supported Israel at the time, and the American producers of oil did not have enough to keep up with the supply and demand. And so we've seen the gas pump shortages. Do you remember that, Stormy?
Yes. Sitting in line like around the block for some gas because my parents forced me to sit in the car with them.
In the 70s?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't driving. I'm in the passenger seat, but yeah, we would have to. I think there were like certain days we could go to the gas station. Like, hey, if your license plate is this, you go to the gas station on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And even though that was your day, you're still in a line around the block.
That's
great. So what happens if you ran out of gas in the line?
Yeah, I was a kid. I don't know, but it probably wasn't good.
Okay. So we had the oil embargo, and that was on top of the high inflation. And so then what we see now is we see that the economists and the policymakers are trying to right the ship now. This is later in the 70s, and they're going, okay, we fucked up. This correlation doesn't exist. We really need to try to rein this shit in. But in order to do that, I see you, Zoe. I see you right there, right at you, baby. Yeah, I'm watching y'all motherfuckers like a mother has to watch her kids now, except Zoe. She doesn't watch her kids.
Ah, they're teenagers. Fuck.
Yeah. So the economists start trying to right the ship, but they know in order to actually fix this problem, they're going to have to see a spike in unemployment and a spike in inflation all at the same time while they try to figure out how to get this fixed. And so what we see is a number of different, I'm watching you, Stormy. We see a number of different recessions that hit. Our first one hits January to July of 1980. And then it is followed very sharply right behind that by another recession from July 1981 till November 1982. And as we're coming out of that recession, we see unemployment is hit as high as 11%. And after that, we finally see that inflation falls below the 5% mark. And now, as kind of a rule of thumb, the Fed tries to shoot for about a 2% inflation rate. And for some of you guys who lived through the 80s, you might remember mortgages at 13%. So so I can keep watching these fools over here. That is a rough breakdown of the economics of the 1970s. I thought it would be nice, fun, and nostalgic. It sucks balls.
Hey, I've got a question for you.
What?
Really quick, if you said something. So unemployment was at 11%. I think right now around 11%. And I'm just looking at the correlation for today because that recession was about a 2-year recession. Is that correct? Is that what you said?
Yeah, it was from July 1981 to November 1982.
Okay, so 18 months roughly?
Mm-hmm. Something like that.
So now what happens, I think we're now at like 30 million people unemployed. So we're going to be at 11%. We're probably higher than that right now because that counts. Yeah, we're definitely higher than that. So that means we have about an 18%. If history repeats itself, 18-month getting out of this hole.
Well, I mean, it depends on the side that you're looking at the recession, because there's the actual, when they actually call a recession, which is a shrinkage of GDP over 2 consecutive quarters. So some of them say that the recession actually started in March before any of it really, really got bad. And it depends on a couple different factors. the unemployment is a lagging indicator. The correlation is not specifically there that they were trying to make before, but from what I've read from The Economist, they think that the recession will be deep but very quick.
And what about, so what if a recession is 2 quarters, what's a depression?
Like normal quarters? No, depression, I can't remember the statistic of it. It's something along the same lines, and I can't remember how many quarters it is with GDP shrinking, or if it's a certain threshold or something. But I could look it up, and I could wow you with those details, or we could talk about music.
Let's go to music.
Okay.
You can look it up while I'm wowing you with music, but I don't really care.
I know. Hold on. I gotta give some of the rock and roll albums that came out in the 70s.
Sure.
Yes. Zoe is so excited to talk about the year she was born, which nobody cares about. Okay. So.
Ever.
Okay. All right. So some of the awesome rock albums that came out during the 70s: Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd in 73. Yep. Lots of
born. See what I'm saying?
Okay, well, that part is valid. We had a whole bunch of Led Zeppelins come out: Led Zeppelin 4, 3, Physical Graffiti, Houses of the Holy, Rumors by Fleetwood Mac in 1977. Come on.
Yeah.
Carole King Tapestry, we've talked about that on this podcast. Paranoid by Black Sabbath, and Black Sabbath by Black Sabbath. And for Zoe, Off the Wall, Michael Jackson, 1979.
Really? Wow.
Goodness.
Saturday Night, I know for some reason I thought that was, I don't know, Saturday Night Fever, 1977. Staying Alive. We'll get drunk one time and tell you guys about our Australian Bee Gees thing. It was awful.
Did you not do that already? I think we might have done, didn't we?
Okay, well, were we drunk?
We'll tell them again and
get
another.
They can tell it to it. We had The Clash by The Clash come out in 1977. Night of the Opera by Queen. I see your little silhouette of a man in 75. Van Halen, first one, 1978. Toys in the Attic, Aerosmith's first one, 1975. Dream On was on that one.
Yeah, that's about the only song I know of theirs, I think.
You know, a couple stuff, but maybe off that album is probably the only thing you know. Lynyrd Skynyrd came out with their first one, pronounced Lynn Nerd, Skin Nerd, in 1973. Highway to Hell, AC/DC. Eat a Peach, the Allman Brothers, 1972, has the song that I was named after on it. Breakfast in America, Supertramp, Take the Long Way Home. $1 Billion Babies, Alice Cooper, Destroyer by Kiss. And in 1979, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Dan the Torpedoes.
Wow.
I know. And that was there was like so fucking many CDs that came out because everybody was really releasing music then. And I'm just trying to, Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders of Mars came out. Heroes by David Bowie came out during that time.
You're absolutely incorrect.
What?
Those were records back then, not CDs.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, you
know what? Your facts straight. There were 45s.
Valid point.
77s. LPs.
They were 33s. 33s were the big ones.
Yeah, 33s are the big one. That's what I meant. 45.
But I understand. Guys always think small numbers are bigger. They're really not. You guys know that. Okay, so now since Zoe is chomping at the bits to get to her year of birth, take it away with some of the music from the years that we were born, since we've already covered 69 to Carol.
Okay, so my year of birth is 1973. So I have the list of the number ones in 1973, but in the UK charts, because obviously I was a little bambino in the UK. So in January 1973, it was The Sweet Blockbuster. No?
No.
Okay.
Not at all.
Yeah, most of these you're going to be like.
Yeah, so why do you keep subjecting us to that? I don't understand.
There are many listeners in many other countries who'll be like, yeah, good.
Representing me. Okay, all right, okay, solid.
Okay.
And then we had Slade, Come On, Feel the Noise. Yeah.
Oh, that was Slade?
Yeah.
It was later.
Wow, for some reason I thought it was, yeah, okay, got it.
They covered it.
Donny Osmond, 12th of Never. Then in March, we had Gilbert O'Sullivan, Get Down.
Get down, get
Get
down.
down.
I'm not sure it was.
Go panties down. That wasn't in there, but that was something in the 80s. There was a little.
Yeah, that's something completely different. Wasn't that Cool in the Gang? Get down, get down. But anyway, it's not that. It's Gilbert.
No, it's not that. No.
April Dawn, tie a yellow ribbon round the old oak tree. The old oak. Fantastic. Yeah.
You guys would put that #1 in the UK.
Yeah, that was #1. May, it was Wizard, See My Baby Jive. June, it was Susie Quattro, Can the Can. That's a top rock chick there. So later on in June, it was 10cc, Rubber Bullets. Yeah. Can I just say that Slade had 3 #1s in my year of birth? Fantastic. And Slade is from my from my county of birth, Birmingham, by the way. Slade had another #1 in June with Squeeze Me, Please Me.
Oh.
But not even spelt right. It was squeeze as in SKWEEZE, and then please with PLEEZE. Squeeze Me, Please Me. Nice.
Scorpions did a song called Tease Me, Please Me.
Oh, well, okay, we're not talking about that now. In July, Peters and Lee, Welcome Home. And another one in July, we don't really like to talk about him anymore, but Gary Glitter, I'm the leader of the gang.
Larry Glitter.
I'm the leader of the pedo gang, so we won't talk about you.
Oh,
yeah.
Don't know who Gary Glitter is.
Yeah, you do. He na 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 na. Hey, da na 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 na. That's Gary Glitter.
Oh, that song. That's him.
Yeah.
Big silver suits and big quiff, and turned out to be a huge pedophile.
I didn't know that.
Well, we're giving him too much airtime already. Donny Osmond again. God, your year's cool. My year, it's all Slade and Donny Osmond. Donny Osmond had another #1 with Young Love in August, and then Wizard, Angel Fingers. In September, the Simon Park Orchestra with Eye Level. David Cassidy, Daydreamer.
Oh my God, your year is lame as shit.
I know. Gary Glitter had another #1 with I Love You, Love Me, Love.
Yes, don't know that one either.
No, it's all pedos. And then, well, it's not, it's just him, but still. And then we rounded off, this is a good one. We rounded off the year of my birth with Slade again, but with Merry Christmas, Everybody. And this is one of the best Christmas songs everywhere and anywhere with Slade. And it goes, Noddy Holder goes, it's Christmas. And it's really famous for that, but that's it. So fuck you, 1973 in England. So I should have, yeah, there you go.
I don't even know what to say to that. That was an awful list.
I know.
That was pretty bad.
I don't make the rules. I don't make the #1s, but they were the #1s in my year of birth, in my country of birth.
What does that say about your country?
Music taste, not great.
Yeah, not great.
70s, man. It was all glam rock and shit, right?
I see why the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, I see why they crossed the pond.
Yeah, no shit. Zoe.
Okay, so let's see if 1974 in the USA was any better. I've got a feeling it is, and it was, because it couldn't be any worse. God, there's a lot of them. So here we go. We started January with Time in a Bottle, Jim Croce.
Oh, very folky, but yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of folky ones, but it's better than glam rock. Then Steve Miller Band, The Joker, classic.
Oh, yeah.
Al Wilson, Show and Tell. Ringo Starr,
1969.
A little bit pedo there, but still, okay. Barbara Streisand, The Way We Were.
Nope.
These suck so far. I thought there's like 2 ones.
Love Unlimited Orchestra, Love's Theme. Then Barbara Streisand comes back again in February with The Way We Were. She's not letting it go.
We're only in February?
Yeah.
My year is way better than you guys.
Yeah, at least in England.
Music went downhill.
Terry Jacks, Seasons in the Sun in March. That's not bad. Oh, Cher. Cher comes in March with Dark Lady.
Yeah, you're doing good.
Yeah. Blue Suede, Hooked on a Feeling. Hooked on a Feeling.
Oh my gosh. Oh, we're in this
again.
This disco love you. Oh, I'm loving this phase for you.
This is awful.
This is horrible.
Oh,
what else you got?
April, Elton John, Benny and the Jets. My
that's a good song.
favorite.
Benny and the Jets.
I love the way he does this. in that.
Yeah, that's
okay.
a good one. You got one good song.
We had the Joker.
MFSB and the 3 Degrees, TSOP, The Sound of Philadelphia, was in April.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is there anyone on there we know that doesn't blow?
Yeah, we're getting there. Grand Funk, The Locomotion, then Ray Stevens, The Streak.
What month is that?
Paul McCartney and Wings, Band on the Run.
Yeah. What month are we in?
Yeah, we're in June. We're getting halfway through.
Okay, so July is next?
No, because we've still got another.
Okay.
Buddy Donaldson and the Haywoods, Billy Don't Be a Hero was in June. And another one in June, Gordon Lightfoot, Sundown.
Oh, I love that song.
Oh, you do?
I saw Gordon Lightfoot, Tracy and I, Sundown, you better take care.
That was number 1.
Yeah, do you know that song, Zoe? Do you know Stormy? Sundown, you better take care. If I find you been creeping round my back stairs. Okay.
That's awful.
Great.
Then July, so we're getting to your birthday. Number 1 around then was the Hughes Corporation, Rock the Boat.
Rock the boat, don't rock the boat, baby. That's considered the first disco song. So now it's just gonna go crazy. Go ahead.
Then George McRae, Rock Your Baby. We're all rocking shit now. Then it was John Denver and his song. Oh, now we get into August and it's Roberta Flack, Feel Like Making Love. All right.
Also in 69.
Paper Lace, The Night Chicago Died.
Mm-hmm.
We're still in August. We've got Paul Anka and
How
Odie.
many weeks are in August? Jesus.
You're Having My Baby.
Oh,
Okay.
God, that's horrible.
I know. September.
Song and in theory, that's awful.
There's some good ones coming up.
That's what you kept saying.
Yeah.
Eric Clapton comes in with I Shot the Sheriff. That's not bad.
That's a good one.
And then, oh my God, The Walrus of Love shoots in there in September with Barry White. Barry White, Can't Get Enough of Your Love, Babe. Who doesn't love Barry White? I love Barry White. No?
Good. No,
Okay.
yeah.
And then Andy Kim, Rock Me Gently. He's back in the end of September.
There's another Andy Kim. Told you, he's around.
Around, Randy.
Yeah.
October, we're only in October. We've still got lots to go. Olivia Newton-John.
Oh, here comes your disco.
I Honestly Love You.
That sounds like a slow song.
Billy Preston, Nothing from Nothing.
Nope.
Yep. Dionne Warwick and the Spinners, Then Came You.
Nope.
Stormy, I don't know that one, Stormy. I thought you would.
Yeah. Nope.
Stevie Wonder, You Haven't Done Nothing. That was in November. Whew. Bachman Turner, Overdrive, You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet.
That's a great song.
Nothing yet.
We're very happy that you know that one, Zoe.
Right.
Just trying to get through my birth year because this is just
yours
awfully painful.
Probably. Yeah. John Lennon has a hit in mid-November with Whatever Gets You Through the Night. God, we'd like to get through this.
No shit.
Again in November, Billy Swan, I Can Help.
There's not that many weeks in a month. I don't understand how I can have 7 #1 hits in one fucking month. Isn't it #1s every week?
Yeah, but this is you Americans can't. At least in England, we had a #1 and we let it go for a few weeks, and you change your mind every fucking week.
That's because it's freedom, Zoe. We're Americans. We're Americans. We like
Americans. Well, here comes a good one in December. Carl Douglas, Kung Fu Fighting.
Okay, that's a good one.
Yeah.
It's got some staying power.
Then last 2 in December were Harry Chapin with Cats in the Cradle.
That's a good song. Very lyrically good.
Yeah. And then the last one, we closed out December with Helen Reddy, Angie Baby. What a shit year for you.
That was, you know what? So
you should burn that paper.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, and now I have to fucking go through Spotify and find all that god awful shit, which is just gonna be awful.
So I would say that Stormy's year was the best.
Well, just because of all the sexual innuendos that came out in 1969.
Wow, what a dirty mind you have.
Right,
Whoa.
I'm sorry.
Whoa.
Yeah, was that not what you meant? Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
wow, some people.
It must be the 2 sips of that awful margarita mix thing that I had that.
It must be.
That's something. Dust ball in my mouth. Okay, well, that was horrible. I think the economics portion of this podcast is going to be the best one over the music, except all of my rock albums.
Visually, I'd say visually, it really was quite the best.
Yeah, so. I'm sure I'll have so much fun seeing what you guys were doing when I was trying to educate people on economics. Yeah, maybe we'll just put this one just on the YouTube channel, and they'll have to go there to see the visual of it. But anyway, so I think we're going to be able to have Stormy back with us now through the rest of this quarantine. Anybody know how long we're going to be in this fucking thing, by the way?
Well, here's my thoughts. I think they said the 15th we go to phase 1 or phase 2, but it looks like some of the states that have released things early, they're starting to have upticks in coronavirus infections. So we may be hitting multiple phases of this. We should have followed the plan of New Zealand because they pretty much eliminated the coronavirus.
They have.
Yeah. They have. They just shut everything down for a couple of weeks. They're like I think they shut like everything down. There was no kind of distancing. They just shut it down. The virus burnt itself out, had no one to transmit to, and now they're like, hey, we can get back to things. If they keep their border closed, they will be coronavirus free.
Yep. They are pretty much
done.
Wow.
That's what I was kind of hoping we would do, because can you imagine it'd be over with? Hey, let's just deal with 2 weeks of hell instead of this over and over and over again.
Right. It's like the difference between ripping off a Band-Aid fast and just slowly one hair at a time, which hurts like balls.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, anyway, so we'll be able to have Stormy back. We'll be able to have some visual for our YouTube channel as I'm trying to put videos up there. You guys finally get to see Zoe's pink hair as it is now growing out. And Stormy rocking the new beard, but no hair.
See my white hair,
which we love. I love it.
The beard looks good. Yeah. The beard is working.
How about what do you think of my beard, Natasha?
Yeah, you can't
really. I was going to talk to you about that. I like it.
Light. Yeah. Plus, I have strips at home, so I'm kind of waxing as I go. Yeah. Well, all right, guys. We appreciate you listening in. April was a huge month for us for listeners. We took on Zoe. Countries.
God, that's terrible.
There's more countries?
Yes,
Vietnam.
Countries.
Vietnam.
And Honduras.
And where?
Honduras.
Nice.
Yep. So, and all into the fold. So
my
welcome
peoples.
Welcome.
My peoples in Vietnam and Honduras.
Of course. They're always.
In what way?
Stormy's fans. Because they're always Stormy's fans.
They're always my fans.
Yeah. What if they don't even know that you're on the podcast?
Well, they know now.
But it's okay. All right. Anyway. All right. Well, we appreciate you guys listening in. Hang in there in the quarantine, and we'll be talking at you soon.
Yes. And follow us on all of our social media.
Absolutely.
And rate, review us, and subscribe. Do it.
All that good stuff.
All right. I'm hitting that we're leaving now. Goodbye.
Thanks for listening. If you like us, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.